So many people like myself got done watching the Nintendo Direct about an hour or so ago, and it was good overall. In fact, we will talk about it tomorrow morning in Newswave, so make sure you're there 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, checking it out 8 a.m. Eastern. But something happened over on the Japanese Nintendo Direct that was a little different. See, we already knew it was going to be a little longer, about 5 minutes longer, and we were trying to figure out what that would be. Must be a new announcement that's not going to affect the West or other parts of the world, and yes, that's what it looks like happened. Sega decided it was time to bring Phantasy Star Online 2 over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this has been a long time frustration for most of us. Anyone who has played the game on the PC knows it's a pretty good game. If you enjoy Phantasy Star at all, maybe you played it a while ago back on the Dreamcast, or even on the original Xbox, the PS2, it's been around. They've had Phantasy Star games on a lot of systems, but we at least got those games over here in the United States, and it worked well. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun on the Dreamcast. But now Phantasy Star Online 2 just will not leave Japan. It stays in Japan. You could still play it anywhere in the world, really, but you have to jump through a lot of hoops, and you're still connecting to Japanese servers, which means the people you tend to try to group up with, well, they're not usually speaking a language that you understand, and of course you do have lag compared to other players if you do things like PvP. PvE has always been fine if you're just doing like quests with other people. Usually you can get away with lag that's higher than acceptable, but not generally for player versus player combat. Now, Phantasy Star Online 2 first showed up back in 2012, and it showed up on the PC, and now it's also been released on the Vita. Yeah, it plays on the Vita, the PS4, and then the cell phones. Yeah, it's also on iOS and Android. Now, the way it works for the Switch, from what we're seeing, is Phantasy Star Online 2 Cloud, which tells us it's probably going to operate the same way that Dragon Quest X operates on the 3DS. It's not actually going to play natively on the system, it's actually going to stream from servers, so it's going to be a server-side game that you play that has very little to do with the system itself. More than likely are doing that because of space constraints. See, the Phantasy Star 2 that we know now seems to be north of about 50 gigabytes at this time. The 3DS isn't going to play Dragon Quest X that same way, so they streamed it already to it. You actually had to buy that game, though, whereas Phantasy Star Online 2 seems to be free to play across the board. So Dragon Quest X you actually bought on the 3DS, and then you didn't actually play it natively on your system. You actually streamed it from other servers. And for the most part, it was completely playable on the 3DS. Now, how playable will Phantasy Star Online 2 be on the Switch? I'm not really sure. I couldn't tell you. Seems to play okay on cell phones, but again, you're going to be streaming it, and if you try to play it away from, let's say, Japan, like, for example, the Switch, region free. We've already, most of us anyway, made a Japanese account. We've probably downloaded something from the Japanese eShop. But this is going to be a little different, because even if you download it from their eShop, you still have to call to their server to then have the information sent back and forth while you're playing, and that could present a problem. We also don't know if they will do things like geo-blocking so that, well, their servers don't get overloaded by people who don't even live in Japan. So if they decide to geo-block it, and it'll only be people in Japan that can play, won't matter if it's region free, you just won't be able to access their servers depending on your IP address. You'll have to go through like VPNs and bounce your connection around so it looks like you're in Japan. Seems like a whole mess. I think Sega at this point, listen, it's popular enough, fans want this game outside of Japan. I think Sega, it is time. It's time to localize Phantasy Star Online 2 outside of Japan. Now, they have talked about how apparently there are challenges right now that they're facing to make sure the game will work 100%. I mean, the game has done nothing but get bigger and bigger and bigger as we've gone along. I think the game started at like 8 gigabytes when it first came out, and now it's over 50. So yeah, the game has continued to grow heavily over the years and years that it's been out. But currently, it is on the PS4, it is on the Switch. Both systems sell well in Japan. Yes, and we have a large install base outside of Japan, I should say, in the United States, that would buy the game, or at least, even if it's free to play like we assume it would buy into different things like, I don't know, all the different microtransactions that they sell. I don't mind microtransactions in games that are free to play because you didn't spend $60 on the game, only be bombarded with more microtransactions. I will say, if you're at all curious about this game, you can download it on your computer, you can jump through a whole bunch of hoops, you can actually even use an English pack right now that will change the entire text to English. You'll just have a hard time talking to other people. I believe when I played it, there was an entire English channel you could talk on and try to meet up with people. Even so, the connection is not amazing. You will have lag when you're hitting things. You'll see the numbers take a little longer to pop up than you'd think. And overall, it's an okay experience. I just would love to see them localize this game. The English site has been up forever. Like I guess they're still trying to port it or do something, localization, anything. It will be a big announcement whenever it happens, if it happens. I just wish Sega would get on top of it now. Let's get this thing out in the world, guys. Let me know what you guys think. There is a full trailer you can go watch. It should be on Nintendo Japan's YouTube channel. It looks like Phantasy Star Online 2 that's going to the Switch is going to be streamed. But let me know what you guys think. Have you tried Phantasy Star Online 2? I have. It's fun. It's Phantasy Star, just kind of evolved over time, and it's a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'll see you next time.